4 of spades, and I promise you, he's a Leo 6 of diamonds, and I promise you, he came here to live his best life. I promise you, he triggered me into living. He saved my life. The 6 of diamonds child that I had saved me from so much trauma and karma or spades, and so it definitely triggered me. That 4 of spades to live my best life, and thank the universe that I was born to live my best life. You know what I mean? Thank the universe for that, because otherwise I wouldn't know what living my best life is. Then I have a 4 of spades child that I promise you lives his best life. I promise you. And he's a 10 of hearts, so he triggered me in the 10 of hearts. The Mercury card of your child is a trigger. So when we look at where we're going and how far we get away from the garden, you know, it makes sense. We're far away from the garden as we start going into our life path. And when we look back at the garden, what do we see? What do we see when we look back at the garden? Do we see trauma? Do we see all of the stuff that we see? That's what do we see when we look back at the garden? You know, think about that. Because you talk about it most of the time when you open your mouth and you got pain coming out, you're talking about the garden. And that's conditioning. That's conditioning. You're conditioned to step out of the garden in the pain. Then we get to the 5 of clubs, which is Venus, the home, the workplace, all of that with a 5. And you know the 5 of clubs is here to live their best life. That's it. It's a 5. You don't have to say no more, right, Rashad?
No, not at all.
I want to live. I got things to do, places to see. I got things to do. That's a 5, and it's mental. You know, it's thinking about it, you know, from the gate. And in most cases, overthinking about it, right? So the 4 of clubs is a support and karma card. And that's peace of mind. So you got 2 clubs together dancing. What is peace of mind? You know, what is peace of mind? You left out the garden in the sin. So what is peace of mind in sin? Conditioning. Your thoughts have been conditioned. Your peace of mind is conditioned. Is it under condition or in? I don't know what the word is, but your peace of mind is co-conditional. I tried to make a new word. Your peace of mind is conditional. It's conditional because you don't even know what peace of mind is because you mad at the God. The 5 of hearts is a challenging karma card, and the 5 of hearts wants to have fun. It's emotional. It wants to get out there in the world and do its thing. The 5 of hearts is Mercury, Jupiter. It doesn't want to be put inside of a box. It's about communications, but it's about communications from what was poured into your heart. So if your heart wasn't poured with love and all of that amazing stuff, what the heck are you challenging yourself with? Right?
But if the 5 of hearts feels challenged, that's a challenging energy though. Well, in the pure spirit, because like you said, it wants to have that fun, it wants to get out and to explore. But let's say Saturn, Venus is like, you know, it's a restriction there, you know.
It's a restriction there, absolutely. And it's masculine. So you have masculine energy challenging somebody that wants to do their thing. That's a contradiction, right? You got the masculine energy. So yeah, because it's Saturn. It's aggressive. So on the low side, not so good. Not so good. On the high side, let's have some fun. Let's get out there and explore the world. But you're getting further and further away from the garden as we go. into our life spread. Then you got the Three of Diamonds, which is Jupiter. Mars, and it is your first introduction into that drive, that masculine energy in Mercury. So that's Mercury, Mars.
Well, it's kind of still in itself is mercurial overdose because the Third Diamond sits Mercury, Uranus. So
so that's a higher octave of itself. Absolutely. So what do you do with that energy, Mr. Three of Diamonds?
Can't no one control that.
and it is Mars.
Oh.
You got Mercury, Mars. And that's what we are today. We're sitting with Mercury, Mars, and Gemini. Mercury is squaring Mars and Gemini. So what do you do with that energy? The Three of Diamonds, you add it on to the fact that you came here to do something. And it's telling you that what you came here to do is starting to get real. You know, you leaving your head. That Five of Cups, you can't jump from the Five of Cups to the Three of Diamonds in your head. That's not good, because you have now got the pressure of Mercury, Uranus, so, and that's not going to work, because things change, and it's a 3. So what are you using that energy for? The Queen of Diamonds is a supporting karma card. And the Queen of Diamonds is in Uranus, Mars, and the pure spread. You know, and that's about flexibility. You're gonna be flexible with Uranus, right? I think Uranus is a little bit. No, I know Uranus is more powerful than Mars. You're gonna be flexible because things are gonna happen, and you have to be flexible. So the Three of Diamonds is flexibility. You have to be flexible with threes. That's period. Threes have that sweet spot in the middle, but threes are not deep. I'm not saying nothing, Rashad, just follow. Threes are, it is what it is. Three is not gonna, like, if you get in your feelings and the 3 has moved on, you just better move on. You know what I mean? Don't be in your feelings with a 3, because they're not gonna be in their feelings. They got stuff to do.
I mean, so it's another option going to come.
They recover very fast, right?
Yeah, you always got options.
Options. There you go. So you get frustrated. So you can't get frustrated today. You got a challenging karma because of 6 of Hearts. And that's real significant, because that's Mars. You have Mars challenging you in Mercury. Think about that. What does that mean to you, since you lived that life?
Being stuck on what you think or what you feel, you know, and it's not really about you, you know.
The source of the 6 of Hearts. Okay, so the source of the 6 of Hearts it's not about you. It's flowing, because the 6 of Hearts is like all sixes. They contain they need balance. So they balance the past, the future, the current. So they're doing a dance of balance. So the 6 of Hearts is challenging the 3 of Diamonds for what? Balance. And since it's an emotional card, it's challenging a diamond in being emotionally balanced. And the 3 of Diamonds sits in Saturn, Mercury. So what would be the imbalance of the 3 of
Diamonds? You said what's it? Saturn, Mercury?
The 3
you're talking about from the pure spread.
Saturn, Mercury. So Saturn is the male, and Mercury is non-binary. So the balance of the 3 of Diamonds would be what?
The principles and I keep on saying laws when it comes to Saturn, but having balance from coming from that structured environment, I guess you can say, and like you said, not to be emotional and be pragmatic, I guess you can say, if that's the correct word.
To be non-binary.
Mm-hmm.
In everything. It's like, I don't even know, I guess another word, because that, the word it says something differently now, but it's not being confined, not being closed, you're not being restricted. You are who you are, period. You haven't even been, well, not really, period, but you haven't even come into who you are yet. You know what I mean? You still are experiencing life. You're still trying to, not trying, but you're living. Mm-hmm. It's like you're living, but we're so far away from the garden now. What are we living? You know what I mean? So you're being challenged by that energy, and you step into your center of your world, Jupiter, the Ace of Spades. Well, I say, damn, don't you? Now, the Ace of Spades is Uranus for the Three of Hearts, right?
Yes, it is.
So you have the Three of Hearts is the garden, and it has the Ace of Spades and Uranus. So that says a lot. Right. You know what I mean? Right?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
What word comes to you when you say the Ace of Spades? What's the first word?
I don't know.
Secret.
I was going to say, you're going to find the answer regardless.
Yes,
it's going to come. It's going to come to you regardless.
It's the keeper of secret, and it's Uranus to the Three of Hearts. So what is the secret about the garden? I'm just going to leave that right there. So the Three of Diamonds jumping into the Ace of Spades. Not jumping, but walking into the Ace of Spades, opening itself up to what is your Mercury. So what does it open the Queen of Clubs up to? You know what I mean? It opens it up to the vastness of everything. It's like you just want to know, you just want to find, you just want to be, your questions, your thought process, because it's the supporting karma, because it's Two of Clubs. And the Two of Clubs is Mars, Mercury, and here is Mercury, Neptune, right? So Neptune and Mars, do they blend together?
Neptune and Mars? No, that'd be that'd be a tough combative energy.
That'd be a tough thing, right?
Yeah.
Because you're taking action, and Neptune is like, okay, so that's a faith. That's faith.
Yeah, kind of draining that Mars energy almost in a way where you want to take clear action, but things may not be as clear. You may have to breathe and take your time.
Yes, the challenging karma cards is Seven of Hearts, the card of faith. You gotta allow things to happen. Faith. That's a good leap from Mars to Neptune, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're taking action and you just jumping off of the pier into the ocean. That's faith. So the Queen of Clubs, faith is Jupiter. Their faith is their cornerstone, right?
Yeah, so it give you that drive into the spirituality if if you have that faith, but it definitely takes faith, and that gives the Queen of Clubs its essence. Really, just looking at that, to be honest, to have that Mars Neptune. You saying the Queen? Which one you saying? The
Queen of Clubs.
Queen of Clubs.
Yeah, the Queen of Clubs, Jupiter.
I'm sorry, which one you talking about? Mars was in Neptune. I'm sorry.
In the pure spread.
Oh, in the pure spread. Okay, I got you. I was like,
no, I said the two of clubs. Right? No, I don't even know. You're not confused. Lord have mercy. You just the three of diamonds made my brain go flip flop. So then we jump into Saturn with the seven of hearts. So what does that mean to you? Because we've stepped into from Mercury to Saturn. Well, not to Saturn, Venus. So we stepped into Venus, and Venus is the next 13 years of our life, where we are learning relationships and all of that good stuff. And it's just Saturn, and the Saturn is the seven of hearts. So allowing in Saturn, Venus, Mercury. So your Venus, Mercury, so you're getting into the essence of your feminine, your female receptivity with the seven of hearts, and that's allowing things to be. So how do you use that energy to challenge your karma? Because the eight of hearts, the power of you. This is the power of your story. The ace of spades is a supporting karma card. And we go back to the ace of spades, having to have faith. So the faith is between the ace of spades and the seven of hearts. And the ace of spades, we know that's the card that wants to know everything. So you step out in your next 13 years of life. We want to know everything in 13. 13 is like the most difficult time for a lot of adolescents, right? You start middle school and you start hormones. A lot happens at 13, right?
Mm-hmm.
So stepping into the seven of hearts for the queen of clubs is 13 is a real pivotal time. That's a real big time for the queen of clubs with that seven of hearts, having good boundaries, being aware, because the sevens are aware. The sevens are peripheral people that's on outskirts learning and absorbing and watching, because they don't want to be in the world. They come in the world when they have to come in the world, but they love being inside of themselves. And inside of you is the garden. So you think about the queen of clubs, they really enjoy their time. You know what I'm saying? They're comfortable. Well, I can't say they're comfortable, but they would be comfortable just with themselves, right? Depending on, whatever else they have going on.
Yeah, if you have a sense of self-identity, if you're not confused as far as how you feel and emotions and as far as how life happens and you let it go, you would. But I think if you're too stuck and you're not curious and you're not playful and you don't have that sense of enthusiasm and optimism, that seven of hearts will drag you.
I raised the queen of clubs, and he's amazing. He's 13 years old, and I was holding my breath. I was like, oh, dang, 2 boys already been to 13, and I was holding my breath. He's amazing. Yeah. My queen of clubs is amazing. He's a gentle giant, but he's big. He took on some weight, man. He's tall and everything, but he's a gentle giant. And I love him so much. He's my Jupiter. And everybody said he's my favorite grandchild, and it's not true. None of them are my favorite. Okay, I don't have favorites. Only favorites I have is don't live with me. So that's my story. But because I have three. He's a Gemini. The other one is he's a Sag, and he's a different kind of kid. The planetary rulers make a big difference, because that Sag is not. He's sweet in his way, but he's not amazing sweet like the 13-year-old. He's amazing with the world. He's amazing with himself. He talked to his dad for the first time in his life, and I saw a shift. I mean, it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. I saw a shift in him that, I knew there was something, but, just being intentional with him and making sure that he knew he was amazing his whole life was what, grandmothers do anyway. But I saw a shift in him. And I mean, he's such an amazing kid. And to see, him as a queen of clubs, people would say he's soft, he's this, he's that. And I'm like, yeah, okay, so what? They say whatever they want to say about you. What about them? I always have those conversations with him. Look at his soft side. He's mercurial. And Mercury in the first 13 years, he was exactly where he was supposed to be. He wasn't attached to either side. He could flow back and forth. It's like he could cry at the drop of a hat and be okay with it. I'm like, that's dope. The fact that I would tell him, I said, the fact that you're crying is pretty freaking amazing. And he would just look at me like, and I was being sincere. I was saying, you're crying right now, dude. He's like, Grandma, I don't want to be crying. Like, Grandma, that's not what I want to do. If you look around, nobody else is crying. Then he got to be a diamond sister who's a savage. He's a savage. She don't cry.
She get
so that is amazing because in life, she's his Mars. He looks at her and he's like, she's not crying, why am I crying? But anyway, I love the Green Clubs. I love it. It's like one of my favorite cards.
But at the age of 13, that they actually, can you speak about the essence of the Garden of Eden? At 13, the 3 of Hearts is at Mercury and the 7 of Hearts.
Yeah, that's why I hold my breath. I held my breath for him at 30. He was the first one to hit 13. I got 2 more, and she's a Scorpio, so she's a savage too. I have two that I'm watching closely because she's a savage, but she's very sensitive and she cries a lot too. They all 3 of them cry a lot. They good criers, you know what I mean? But the Sagittarian is a manipulator. He's a manipulator. It's like my granddaughter she'll say, as soon as he sees you, he's gonna start crying. So yeah, he's a manipulator. But hey, it is what it is. He's only 5. But then they have that 7 of diamonds, and 7 of diamonds is their Neptune, right?
Uranus.
So that's spiritual in itself. When we know 7 of diamonds, it just changes. It doesn't have the karma that we have, but it has powerful support, the 9 of Hearts, which is letting stuff go. That support of allowing agape love, allowing that love to flow through you.
That's Uranus. I said it's Uranus.
Yeah, Uranus. Didn't I say? Yeah, I said, what did I
Neptune.
Say? Oh, okay. Uranus. So that power of that agape love, that's a 9 of Hearts. It's agape love. It's the highest form of love there is. And what are you doing, Rashad?
Oh, you can hear me? I'm sorry.
What are you doing?
Oh, I'm on this computer on YouTube as well.
Oh, you beating it up though.
Oh, that's the phone too, moving around.
So the 9 of Hearts is that agape love. It's pouring, what you're pouring out of your cup, because there's a release. 9s are releases. So you're pouring from your cup with that 9 and that 7 of diamonds in Uranus. So that could be, that Uranus things just happening out of the blue for you, changeable, emotional, because the 7 of diamonds in the chart, as you grow, the next year is in Saturn. So it's like, what happened to me? Because I was cool. I was good. You know what I mean? Because the 7 of diamonds, that's good, right? But next year, I don't know what happened. Something changed about me. Yeah, that seven of diamonds went to Saturn, and Saturn, it crystallized everything that you're supposed to be pouring. So if you're not pouring good stuff, next year you got to work on that, because you have to be pouring from a good source, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Neptune as a 5 of spades, and that's definitely. And then you have those 2 sevens in experimenting with relationships, right? So relationships would be very powerful and want to be spiritual relationships with that Queen of Clubs, right?
Mm.
You know, they don't want some spiritual relationships. And that 5 of spades and Uranus and Neptune, you know, that's a Venus, Mars again, and Mars and Neptune. So you know what that looks like. So you got to know how to carry that energy as a 5. And add that, couple it with that 5 of clubs. You would want to say somebody that's that wants movement. There's somebody that, and the 5 of clubs is in the 5 of spades. So you got a lot of energy to carry in your minds. You know, the thoughts, your feelings, all that kind of stuff are changeable. You know, people can say, well, I thought you something. No, I don't feel that way anymore. Right. Like, I don't feel that way anymore. I moved on. And I suggest you do, right? That could be the Queen of Clubs, right?
Right. Yeah, most definitely.
They're
not gonna harp around.
Yeah, it's like that. I'm not doing that, Grandma. I'm not doing that anymore. And like that would be the 5 of spades and Uranus, right?
Right.
I'm taking a turn. And the supportive karma cards are 4 diamonds. And it's so funny because he has 4 diamonds, brother. And I can't understand how them 2 vibe, but that's the supportive karma card. So they really are interesting to watch to do the dance together. And you know, the 4 diamonds is that amazing card that sits in Neptune, Venus, that you know can be really interesting and dreamy. So yeah, that gives a lot of source to the 5 of spades, and right, wouldn't that give it a lot of sources supporting it on its adventures, right?
Right. Yeah. It gives it a little clarity and spiritual wisdom and knowledge as far as what the 5 of spades comes with. You know, it comes with that depth. It gives it a lot of depth.
A lot of depth. Gives it a lot of depth. A big deal of depth, because the conversations that those 2 have, like, whoa, I'd be like, okay, that's those 2 together. Yeah. That combination, to have a brother that is your support karma card, is pretty dope, because my brother is my is a 7 diamond, and he's my guru, and my other brother is my reward. So to have that is pretty dope, you know. And the 10 of hearts is a challenging karma card. So what do you think the 10 of hearts sitting in Jupiter, Mars is challenging the 5 of spades to be or to do?
I guess to go with your intuition, to kind of push the boundaries, and not feel challenged by your thoughts and the things that you feel and the way that you want to go. So you gotta have, I'm not gonna say optimism, but you got to have drive. I guess I guess you can say you gotta have drive to go after what you want. You know, nothing. That Jupiter Mars position is like a Sagittarius on overload, or so it's like nothing. Most definitely is going to hold you back unless it's traumatic in a sense, or in a way where you may have to be careful as well.
Oh yeah, you gotta be careful, because that 10 of hearts is that card that has to have good boundaries, I would say, because it draws people in, and it definitely is like the Pied Piper. Would you say?
Yeah.
It's definitely the 10 of hearts. It's definitely a crowd of emotions. You know what I mean? Lots of stuff going on when the Ten of Hearts appears. So definitely you're challenged as a Five of Spades with that energy that definitely has to pay attention. Because you know, Ten of Hearts is power in emotions, and because it's a 10, it can you know, it what do you say, when you reduce it to a 1, it can be very driven, you know, egotistical. You know, 10s can be very egotistical, you know what I'm saying, on the low side. So that 10 is challenging the essence of the 10. You know what I mean? You can't be in your ego. You can't. That's not an ego card. It causes problems in the ego, and Michael Jackson is a great person to look at with that Ten of Hearts and how he carried it. That Ten of Hearts, he didn't carry that Ten of Hearts very well. You know, sometimes it was not saying he didn't carry it very well, but sometimes it was difficult for him, and you could see in how it played out in his life. You know, when he stayed out of ego and was using that power of that Ten of Hearts, you know, he was amazing. You know, his music and everything showed it, but the ego part was too hard for him. You know what I mean? He wasn't, given that freedom of the freedom that he needed. And well, I shouldn't say given, but he's so far from the God,
You say he's far from the, you saying just in general, or just,
he's far from the garden. Well, look at the Ten of Hearts and the Three of Hearts.
Yeah.
That's a big trick.
Yeah.
You know, he's far away from the garden.
But he still has a connection with it. I think it's because the Queen of Clubs is still there.
He has a connection because he has
in
a
the Ace of Hearts.
The Ace of Hearts. The Three of Hearts is supporting.
Yeah.
But it's Mars.
So it's
it's Mars Mercury. That's not gonna work out so well, right? If you're on the low side.
And it's Uranus too, so that may put the adventure and curiosity and just heightens that curiosity and drive and that passion.
And gets you in trouble with little children.
Just put it bluntly.
Get you in trouble with little boundaries.
Put it bluntly.
Got in trouble with little children.
But that's tough. That's Mars, Jupiter. You know how do you put boundaries on that? That's I said, and that's tough because he probably felt like he didn't have no boundaries. Well, what's the point?
He didn't have boundaries with children. He didn't. He's perfect. He didn't have boundaries with children. So I never thought that he did anything with children. The Ten of Hearts plays out that he was a child. He was in love with being a child. And he wanted to be a child, but when he went to that 1, he couldn't handle that. When his 10 was reduced to a 1 to that male, he couldn't handle that. You know, I think, I'm just saying as a spectator, because that's ego.
Yeah.
And children don't do well with ego, right? So having to be an adult was very triggering to him. Would you not say?
Oh yeah, most definitely. You can see that easily.
He
stayed a child. Yeah.
And people couldn't understand why he was around children. He was a child. In the pure sense of it, he was a child. And then the fact he was a Virgo and he spent too much time in his head just didn't help. His head, that Jack of Clubs, we get off on a whole different story, right?
Yeah, that's all another episode.
The cards, right? So Pluto, Jack of Hearts. That's the source, right? Because the Jack of Hearts, as we know, is a generator. It's the most powerful of the hearts for sure. But it is here, it has a purpose. What's the purpose? it's the Christ principle. And it's Pluto. And Pluto, as we know it, is wants us to dig deep, to look at things, to look at everything, to expose it, to dance with it, do all of that stuff with it. Pluto wants to build it out. Ask those questions. Ask a question today. Oh my God, I'm gonna ask a question today. Pluto wants you to discover, and that's the Jack of Hearts. And what does the Jack of Hearts represent? The Christ principle. The Jack of Hearts is that everything that you right there. You don't have to go nowhere. Everything. And it would make perfect sense because the Three of Hearts would be a Jack of Hearts. The Ace of Hearts would be a Jack of Hearts. Because the Jack of Hearts will eventually be a Queen of Hearts and a Queen of Hearts. So the progression of the hearts, So the Jack of Hearts came here with everything. It is it teaches us that all you have to do is touch the thing. Just touch the thing. You touch the thing, and it will be multiplied in any way that you desire. The multiplication is from you. So you touch the Jack of Hearts in the biblical story. You just touched the hem of the garment. That's all they did. All they said is, I just gotta touch his hem. I don't have to do anything else. So you have that in Pluto. So what would that mean to you on Pluto? Make me work. He's like, she gonna make me work. That's my Saturn.
Right. I guess, like you said, the Jack of Hearts is resourceful. Of course, we always say it comes with boundaries, but looking on the other side of the Jack of Hearts and the essence of it, having that in Pluto would give you the Midas touch, almost.
Yeah, not almost, the Midas touch.
Yeah.
And that's your superpower. If you unlock that Jack of Hearts, that's it. That is the Midas touch. In Pluto, yeah, that's your superpower.
So this the spiritual essence that it has, like you said, as one goes through life looking for the answers and looking for the resources, they can almost probably show up out of nowhere, or that touch of God, or that Christ consciousness just comes to you, So,
silver spoon, the silver spoon, right?
Right.
That would be the Queen of Clubs is born with a silver spoon. That's dope. Guess you jealous that it's your Saturn, huh?
Right.
It's my transformation card, and it's the Queen of Clubs is my Jupiter. So yeah, I'm gonna tap into Pluto today.
Yeah, I gotta work for it.
Nah. I'm tapping into Pluto today. I'm going deep. I need some answers. And Queen of Clubs woke me up saying, today is the day for you to get some answers, love. And I'm gonna go deep with it. The reward, the reward, people said it was so that's a reward. For me, I like the reward. It's the Nine of Clubs. And what does the Nine of Clubs open you up to? Bar none. To have the Nine of Clubs as a reward is pretty daggone dope. Because you have that nine, which you travel with information from the eight to the nine. You're just an information gatherer. You just want, you know what I mean? You start off with a new thought, which is the Ace of Clubs, and you travel through all of the clubs, and then you have all of this knowledge and information. Now what do you do? How do you disseminate? That's the Midas touch. How do you use that information? That's coupling it with your Pluto. Once you got your Pluto, all the information in the world is yours. The supportive karma card is a Six of Diamonds, balancing you out. That's balancing you out. That's saying that this is a cause and effect moment for you. Cause the effect. Your thoughts, where you going with them, how you getting there with them, are gonna pay off for you. Because that's what Six of Diamonds is. The Six of Diamonds is, it will pay off. It's gonna take time. It would take time to be a Nine of Clubs. Nine of Clubs, you're going from an ace to a nine. That's timing. So the Six of Diamonds is saying you do the work and put this work in, because that's what Six of Diamonds is. It's applying. And we say a pressure, but it's applying what you know, what you learned. It's supporting. Six of Diamonds is supporting and applying. That's deep. Challenging karma card is the Queen of Hearts. That's Neptune. Nothing but faith. You have faith that is coupled with the Jack of Hearts. So when you unlock them, that's what you got, right? Mm-hmm. So jumping into some amazing stuff. And then you go into your cosmic lesson, which is a Nine of Spades. And that's the most powerful of nines that you could have as your guru. That's your teacher. And it coupling it with the Nine of Clubs makes you a very powerful person to be reckoned with the information that's flowing around in your head. Would you not say that, Rashad?
Most definitely.
The downloads that you get are like, okay, should I bet this out?
Nah, most likely if you go to your intuition, you're gonna be spot on, So
yeah, if you go to your intuition, you'll be spot on. But the Nine of Spades is traveling from the ace to the nine, and all of that information and stuff in there. You got the supportive karma card is the Six of Spades. So it's time. It's like there's gonna be things that happen to you that are gonna be so magnificent that they're gonna blow your socks off, right? Mm-hmm. You're gonna be like, whoa. I mean, that's your life. The Six of Spades is timing. It's karmic. It brings back. It makes it real. So with that Nine of Spades, it could be very daunting, very heavy. But if you're not in that spiritual realm, the King of Hearts is a challenging karma card. That's passion. That's love. That's the master of love. That's it. It's Mars Mercury. There you go again. And that's not an easy placement, Mars Mercury. Would you say, Rashad?
No, not at all. Like you said, it also has that ego, almost kind of like that Mars. The Ten of Hearts I was looking at, when you were talking about the Ten of Hearts, I was like, it sounds a lot like the King of Hearts, but that's their reward. So
that's their reward.
Yeah.
So the King of Hearts is challenging the Nine of Hearts, and it's the passion. It's the master of love. Letting go of stuff. It behooves the Nine of Spades, right?
Yeah.
Because you let go of stuff. Because the passion that you put into it, when you let go with that Six of Spades, your reward that you get is will blow the socks off, right?
Yeah, you may not see it, or it may not happen instantly, but it surely will happen. It goes with that faith and having that trust into where it's going. You feel it moving, you see it moving. Like you said, I look at the nines as the journey and the path that ones take to get to the end of the road. So it is a long journey, it is a long path. But if you stay the course, there's great things on the other side, as you said.
Yeah, it's a release. And it's cyclical. When you look at the nine, you draw a nine. That circle in the middle is the universe. Everything is encapsulated in there. You're going to that. That's why nines are so powerful, because you're traveling that line and it curves in, and you have all of that in it. Everything is encapsulated in there. You developed all of that. And now you have you release it. It's a release. You get to that point of release, because it always has to be released. You can't hold on to anything that's just illusionary. right? And this is all happening in development, because the Venus role is development. Then we get to the Two of Hearts, which is your moon. And that is the card that supports you in life, the Ace of Clubs twin. So your feelings, what are your feelings? Your feelings can be hard for you to master as a Queen of Clubs if you don't understand the biometric nature of your feelings. Your feelings are powerful. They're new thoughts, having conversations about new thoughts, always being fluid, always knowing that you cannot put yourself in a box, because the Ace of Clubs is fluid. It sits in Mercury. It does not have it's non-binary. And when it goes down to Venus, the Two of Hearts, which is the soulmate, it's starting to get into the relationship mode. It's like, oh, okay, this is what relationships are. I'm getting it. I'm understanding. It's over time that the Queen of Clubs is going to step into the knowledge of relationships. It's a journey, and it's a biometric journey. And sometimes I feel like a nut, sometimes I don't. And that's the duality of Mercury, and that experience, that wanting to experience life, because the Ace of Clubs wants to experience life. The Ace of Clubs does not want to be put in a box, because it doesn't have karma. It doesn't have all of the limitations that the rest of us have. It's my Mars card, and definitely is my source, because I don't have limitations when it comes to new thoughts and discovery and stuff like that. It's a very courageous card. Got a lot of courage attached to it. When it jumps out there into the world, and it's our first step out to the world. The Ace of Clubs is our first step out into the world. And as the moon is about your relationships with your female side first, and then relationships with women in the world in general, and then your emotions, attached to people who are comfortable in their female receptivity. That's a big energy. Bar none, to have it as your moon. That's a lot of energy. That builds you out a lot and you definitely will be a moon person. What you say?
Oh yeah, you swayed by the hands of the moon and the I guess you said that would make your thoughts and the attachments to what you think come with an emotional perspective, so you definitely have to be careful with however you feel with the Queen of Clubs, because you kind of be swayed, I think.
Yeah, that's good stuff. So you have the transformation card, which is something you become over time, and that's the King of Hearts, and that's the soulmate to the King of Hearts, soulmate, the Queen of Clubs, and reversing it, because we like to reverse it. We like to go back and reverse that life path. That's some good stuff. You reverse as the King of Hearts, and you reverse that life path, you have access to all of that. And that's your clear shot to the garden when you go back and unlock and unpack that life path. And the King of Hearts it's tied together, but the King of Hearts sits in Mars, and that's the next 13 years of you opening up to the Queen of Clubs, is opening up to the male receptivity with the King of Hearts, the passion of love, and the Nine of Hearts, the Nine of Spades is the cosmic lesson, and it's the supporting karma card. So the very spiritual essence of the King of Hearts, for the Queen of Clubs. That's a spiritual. And kings are spiritual by nature. Kings have to be spiritual. They have to be divine. And the Two of Clubs is a supportive karma card to their Jupiter. You know, so the dance that they do is amazing. It's amazing synchronicity between the Queen of Clubs and the King of Hearts. That's why they're so amazing, because they have a dance that they do together in the life path, because their supporting karma card to their Jupiter card is now challenging the King of Hearts. And we know the Two of Clubs is Uranus, Saturn, and in the pure spread is Mars, Mercury. And then Mars, Mercury, it has the support of the King of Hearts, so they're very karmically connected. And that's the karmas that we go through in life to unlock, to become the master of ourselves. So Two of Clubs is very important to the King of Hearts. You know, it's their challenge. Very important to the Queen of Clubs because it's their support. So the dance that they do together in love is power, you know, and it's curiosity, because the Two of Clubs is extremely curious. So the curiosity with the Two of Clubs is challenging the King of Hearts to be curious. You know, the conversations that you have are transformative, because the Ace of Spades is a challenging karma card. The Two of Clubs is nosy. One of the most nosiest cards you're going to meet. They want to know everything. And they're very clairvoyant. They have access to a lot. Being in Uranus, Saturn makes on the low side is why they're called a fear card, because the shakeups that they have in their life and Saturn standing in front of them would make someone fearful, because they go deep with their energy. So the King of Hearts can be very fearful. You know, cannot trust themselves.
Yeah. No, I was just laughing. Yeah, how scary the Two of Clubs.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, Two of Clubs is on the low side. Two of Clubs has the Seven of Spades as their supporting karma card. I mean, it's their supporting card in life, and their life is a faith. The King of Hearts' life is a faith. Faith. If you don't have faith, you can't carry this energy. And that's the Queen of Clubs. You are transforming into faith. Your faith, your journey in life is from the garden, and you carry that with you, your faith. So the question that we ask today, you gotta ask that question. You know, what's the condition and responses that you gotta release? What authenticity do you have to find in yourself? You gotta become authentic. How do you ask that question to yourself? You know, you gotta go deep with it. You gotta let it all go and really look at it and be really clear with yourself. Is it you, or is it other folks' ideas? You know, we ask the question, and the question that asked oftentimes is to get an answer that makes you comfortable. That's why people ask questions, because they want to be comfortable. You can't be comfortable. That's not possible. If the answers make you comfortable, you're conditioned. Those are conditioned responses if they make you comfortable. You can't be comfortable. You have to be uncomfortable if you want to be authentic. If you want to be authentic, you got to break out of that paradigm. Mm-hmm. Because what is the most basic thing you know about yourself? Most basic thing that I know about myself is I came out the garden. That's a good place for me to start. I came out of the garden, and I did not come into chaos, and I did not come into hell. No, I came out the garden. How the hell do you come out the garden into sin? That's a condition that stops you at the gate. Gotta ask that question today. Gotta get outside of the norm. Got to upend the question. How do you upend the question? You gotta ask that question different. You gotta be different with it. You gotta ask that question different. You can't ask the same question, because you ask that question, you get the same responses. Right? So what's the question that you're gonna ask today? Is where I start at. It's like I gotta ask the question because I need the answers. I can't be trapped in this bubble. If I'm trapped in this bubble, that means I'm coming back, and I'm not coming back in. I can't. I have to break out of the bubble, and that's the desire every day to break out of the bubble. So I know we got some Queen of Clubs up in here, and if you're a clubs and you're past 36, you're a Queen of Clubs or a King of Clubs, because that's the 36 is a 9, and that's when you step into your personality card. So you operate as the card that you were born as, but the higher octave of you is your personality, and you should be operating in your personality card. Like, I'm a Queen of Diamonds. I was born as an 8 of Diamonds, but I'm Queen of Diamonds. That's the my personality card, and it suits me. The Queen of Diamonds does suit me. It's Saturn, and it makes perfect sense that I have that that duality of the male and the female, because Saturn is daddy, and Saturn rules my personality. So yeah, we're real interesting when we look at the cards. So anybody want to come up to the stage on this amazing Queen of Clubs day and ask the question? What questions do we got today?
Sorry, YouTube. I'm trying to turn on the comments, but it did not let me. It did not let me turn on the comments for some reason. But
hey Donna, how you doing?
Maybe next time.
Great Rising. How's everything?
Everything's good. What's your question?
Okay, so I'm an Ace of Diamonds, but I have a daughter that is a Queen of Club. She will be 16. She's a Cancer. She'll be 16 this year. And my question is how to do the dance with her and get her to her greatness.
Are you great, Mom?
I'm great.
There you go. You have to be great. You got to start with a good source, because you're the God for her. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, she looks back to you for that nourishment, that nurture, because you're the God. So as long as she has a great source, she is definitely good. Is she amazing?
Baby.
I'm saying she
really, really is. She has such a good heart.
Yes.
Good heart. Oh my gosh. I mean, and when she was younger, she went through some things only because, she had to see the breakup of my relationship. Right. So, she went through it, but once she got over that hump, it really showed her, she started showing her greatness. She is also extremely intuitive.
Yeah.
Extremely intuitive. I mean, literally when she was 7, we went to a drumming. And the drummers let her drum. And it was clear she started getting into trance. And she gave numbers. And when I say those numbers came out straight, they came out straight. Yeah. It was like that. That's how intuitive she is. But she is definitely, she likes to, she's a talker.
I know, right? They are talkers. Absolutely.
Yes.
They just have conversations. I'm like, okay, we going this direction right now, right?
Right.
Did she start talking right away?
Oh yeah, she's been a talker, and she's been a trip since day one.
Does she have her own language?
Well, I would say I remember when she used to swear she would speak Spanish, right? But that was her language. She would.
Yes. Oh, thank you. I have my own language, and me and my 3 Queen of Clubs, we talk our own language, and it drives people crazy, and we know what we're saying to each other. And yes. Oh my God, I'm so happy that there's somebody we talk our own language, and and everybody's like, what are they saying to each other? No, we're just we know what we're saying. We are not from here. We have Queen of Clubs has her own, and the Queen of Clubs is the card of China. So it makes sense. It's the card of China, and it for me in some way, shape, or form is the card of what they would call a learning disability, because it has the 5 of clubs in Venus, and the 5 of hearts is a challenging karma card. So that gives it that 5 of hearts is the card of autism because of the specialness of the 5 of hearts. It has a retreat to it. So when you're talking, and like me, when I'm talking and I know that it's not coming out right, I'll stop and I'll just retreat in myself. Right. And I see that in autistic children. It's like, you don't understand me, so I don't even want to talk to you. Right. You know, so you think there's something wrong with this child. It's like, no, because I speak a different language. I do. And I've been, studying it for the last 5 years. The connection between Mongoloids, which would be, it's a race. We have 3 races, but the connection between Mongoloid and Queen of Clubs. So I'm always on something. But
that's interesting. That's interesting.
Isn't it? It's so interesting. It's so interesting. Because it's the card of China, so there's a connection between the language. It's something. I don't know what it is, but I sit with it. I love the connection.
Wow, that's deep, and that makes me. And once you said that, and then it took me on a spin of something else. I'm a special ed teacher.
Oh.
And I think about once you said Mongoloid, I started to think about my Down syndrome students.
Yes.
And some of the language that they have.
Yes, I'm telling you, because I've been in social work for so long, and I've just been studying people for so long. And then when the cards came, it opened it up to like, yo, these cards are living, breathing entities. So the Queen of Clubs and Mongoloid. The race, not Mongoloidism is something.
Yes, no, I totally get it.
You get it, right? People don't
without
understand. Right, people don't understand Mongoloid. We have Caucasoid, Mongoloid, and Negroid. Right. Those are races. Right. Mongoloids are they. It's just okay. I'm going off. I'm sorry, you guys.
I got you, but 100. I am so right there with you. I am so right there with you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, you too. Hey, Rising.
I was just watching this Queen of Clubs energy just take you wherever you were going. I was just laughing.
I know, right? It just took me there. That Jack of Hearts and Pluto was like, go deep.
I was in my feelings a little bit because I was still in bed when I was like, y'all wanted that engine kick. I was like, oh, please stop. Not on my day.
Wait, what is going on?
With the end of the Michael Jackson kick, I was like, please stop. Not on my day. This is too much. This is too much. This is too much.
No,
like, cringing.
He wanted us to talk about.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing about Queen of Clubs, right? You nailed it with the. I don't love overusing the word discerning, but I think later in the Queen of Clubs evolution, we really get to a place where we try to not judge so that we can get all the facts. We can get all that to the club. Like, I want all the information, so I can't judge you.
And a diamond with your hater card.
Is it a hater or do the people just, is it consequences? Because I just think that, I'm teasing, but I don't want to talk about haters.
No, Rashad is I usually say petty, but you know what I mean?
Petty, I'll take.
Take petty.
Yeah, because petty don't last forever. It's just factual.
He gave you, Rashad is going to embrace that because he don't like when I say your diamond is petty. So he will embrace that. Petty doesn't last forever, Rashad.
Thanks. Maybe I can embrace it. Yeah.
I love that, Leo Rising. That's a good one.
And also, I loved hearing about your Queen of Clubs because as a child, I was always giving the adults like the business, but I didn't do it because I knew it. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just listening to them. I'd be like, "That's not what they said. You don't mean that. And the language thing, I think, Donna, you said you're an ace of diamonds. I found that, oh my gosh, Donna, your following count is my birthday, 128 right now.
Yes.
I wonder what's going to happen to me at 35. That's so interesting. Oh, baby. But the person I had a secret language with was my ace of diamonds, whose grandmother brought around all the psychics and started telling my mom how psychic I was. So her name was Nicole. Her grandma was Mercedes. And the sister-in-law's name was Gina, which I find funny because my Jennifer is up there. But when you said that, I was like, oh yeah, we used to speak Pig Latin because she went to Catholic school.
Yes.
I would come home and I'd get so mad that I wasn't in private school and in boarding school. I'm like, well, Nicole's in Catholic school.
Oh, so petty, so petty. But nobody knows about Pig Latin. Oh my God.
Yeah, I had it with her. I had it with my Ace of Spades sister, who was my Jupiter. She's an Aries, so my Jupiter's an Aries. So I found that really ironic. And who else did I have? And then my later in life best friend, who was a King of Diamonds, from middle school all the way into college. And I would cultivate telepathy with people. A lot of my friends ended up being later in life neurodiverse. And I think that it's like you can just read our minds. I'm like, yeah, it's like telepathy. You just kind of listen. Like, you don't really have to say anything. You just be with people. I don't have a question for today. I was like, if anyone has questions, they can ask, because I noticed no clubs came up yet. So if you need to ask questions, I can give this week if I have extra.
Okay, that's some good stuff. We got a new word for petty, Rashad. It doesn't last long.
I think that's the point of being petty. Just it's like, all right, we're gonna address this now, just move on. But we gotta address it.
And it drives people crazy. That's the point of it. It just digs and keeps you moving. My most pettiest moments are some of my best.
It's not.
Oh my gosh, you don't see it coming.
We're gonna sit this right here, and you can look at it every night.
But you know I'm petty. You don't see it coming, but if you know me, you know I'm petty.
No, I really try to. I can be petty. I'm not gonna lie, but I try not to. I try not to. I try not to.
You know what I mean? Right, you're right. Just embrace your pettiness.
You gotta embrace the parts that make you contour really well when someone takes a picture of the moment they got you fucked up. Because you know what I mean? Like you're gonna look real cute while they look real miserable. I'm teasing right now.
Aquarius Maximus calls me the queen of petty. He thinks you be hurting my feelings. I think you have not hurt my feelings. You cannot know this is a skill that I have cultivated over time. Hey, Nick.
Hey, Donna can go.
Donna went already.
Donna, damn. Okay. Yeah. So this was the most emotional day for me in terms of listening to this clubhouse. I'm like, damn, I don't want to be on here no more. Just because I feel like I just got to read it, and I really wasn't gonna come up here, but I was just talking to Rashad. He was like, make sure you come up, and I didn't want to come because it was just too emotional for me. And so I didn't really want to tell nobody that, but I feel like maybe somebody out there needs to hear it. But yeah, because I just feel like I do this dance, you know what I'm saying? This dance back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I just feel like this robot that just goes back and forth, and I just don't get it. You know what I'm saying? I just really feel like I got to read into that, really. So I don't really know. I'm just going crazy.
So how do you feel about did you go back and forth?
I don't get it. It's just like, what the fuck? like excuse me, I'm sorry. But I just don't get it. It's just like, I don't know.
Okay, so the Three of Hearts is the card that supports you, right? That is the first card on the Grand Soul Suit, and it represents where we are before we come to this plane. The Three of Hearts represents the God. It represents the womb. It represents where we are getting ready to come out into the world, right? It's the pure essence of everything. When we come out in the world, we come out with a new thought. The Ace of Clubs. We come out with a new thought. We're curious. We want to know what's happening. We're just asking questions. We're just so alive, and we want to know. And the support is the Two of Hearts. The Two of Hearts is supporting us. That's a relationship that we have. Who was your first relationship with? Your mother. So your relationship with the womb is the Two of Hearts. It's your relationship and your biometric abilities of, we have, I can't even say how many, we have 52 cards, and that means that the vast majority of us have all of those karmas. You have one card to figure out, and that's a Two of Hearts. That's your supporting, that's your foundation, and two represent partnerships. The heart represents emotions. So you got to look at the emotions inside of you. You got to look at the partnership with yourself. It's like you are dualistic in nature. It's a partnership. It's like what you're looking at is you, but it's conditioned responses to relationships that you think how they should be. So you're conditioned, and now you got to recondition yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense.
You have to recondition yourself because you have a dualistic nature. Your nature is changeable, and we all do. That's what we are. We change in life. But your relationship, you are that person that has a soul that is inside of you. It's you. It's not nowhere on the outside. It's not in relationship. It's the soulmate that we all have, but twos oftentimes be looking outside of themselves. So the Two of Hearts can be looking for something in you. Because the Ace of Cups, I'm pretty sure it's good. But the Two of Hearts could be for a relationship, looking for something else to replace what you think you don't have. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And I just feel like, how you say, like, not really of this world,
Yeah.
That the Two of Hearts part feels that way.
Yeah. And you're going to be frustrated until you realize that you came here into perfection. And that's us. We came into perfection. But when we come out to the world, what did they say? Oh, you're born into sin. It's conditioned. You got to recondition yourself to know, yeah, I got everything that I need right here, but I feel like doing X, Y, and Z today.
Okay, so you just unlock the issue. Boom, there it is. So the issue is I don't like myself, and I'm in the world, and nobody else allows me. I'm in the world where nobody wants to be unlocked. So I feel like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah. Pretty much.
And I apologize for cursing everybody. I'm sorry.
But the vast majority of people were born into sin. Right?
Right.
Vast majority of people believe that story. And there's something wrong with that. And every time we give birth, we give birth to that concept.
That was deep. Like, wow. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hey, Rel, what is that you got on, Mama?
Oh, that's Queen Big.
Oh, my goodness.
Grand
Rising.
I just wanted to grace the stage. Just let everybody know that this is it. And I shall be captivated all of its essence. And so should you. Thank you so very much because you helped me unlock just a few minutes ago through Nick. So I thank you for that. I'll go deeper with you, but that's something about you already.
Yes, ma'am. From the 9 of clubs. 9 of clubs unlocked something. It's unlocked.